Hello, and a happy Mother's Day to you all you mothers out there. And even if you didn't give birth, because I was sending out my Mother's Day, just my text today, and then I had one of my friends, text me back and said, I'm not a mother, I've never given birth to a child, but I also want to shout out to all women who stood in the gap in prayer and leading and mentoring and supporting and advising and caring and loving a child. A happy Mother's Day as well. Happy Mother's Day. It's your, we do so many things as women, and it's not to take away from anyone that has given birth, but sometimes a woman who hasn't given birth can feel like the value in motherhood, she's not entitled to a little bit of that. I know I claim it. I claim it all the time. So, welcome to another episode of Contemporary Living Live. Yes, we are live on Mother's Day, where we provide lifestyle solutions for everyday people, people like you, people like me, all over the world. And I'm just excited. I'm excited about today. I'm excited about life. So, how was your week? Huh? How was your week? I hope it was enjoyable. I hope it was productive. And, we definitely want to thank you for just taking time out of your day to tune in, because guess what? You have options. And if you're looking at Contemporary Living Live on Mother's Day, we want to send out a special thank you to you as well. We have a great program lined up for you as usual. But before we get to that, let me get to our housekeeping notes. All right. So you know where you can find Contemporary Living: Facebook, YouTube, IG, Instagram. And if you want to be a guest or become a sponsor, or just, you can just get in contact with us. Just go to info at contemporarylivinglive.com. That's info at contemporarylivinglive.com. I promise you, we're not hard to find. Well, you know where to reach us. So let someone else know. We would love to hear from you though. And like I always say, our platform is your platform. So reach out. But before I move on, I need to ask you, if you've seen our previous program and you like any of our programs, smash up that like button right now, share this live, and go ahead. Just do it. Don't even think about it. Just smash the like and share it, because it costs you nothing. And we really, really appreciate that. So, like I said, we've got a good one tonight, you guys. You know, our guest, Dwayne Ross, he is an author, he is a coach, he is an entrepreneur, and he's a trainer as well. And he's dedicated to just helping you reach your next level, especially in the arena of self-publishing. And I'm so glad that he's here on Contemporary Living, because tonight he's going to talk about exactly that. And I'm glad you're tuned in, because there's so many of us who we want to write a book, or we've intended to write a book over the years, but we just never have. And whether it's procrastination, because that happens, or just laziness, or it's just out of season, or just life in general gets in the way. I want you to remember one thing, because those things do happen, but the body can't go where the mind won't take you. So you have to be intentional, especially if you're talking about committing to writing and publishing and getting your book published. So tonight, I know Dwayne is going to plant some deliberate seeds to inspire or aspire you to pick up that dream of, getting that book written. That's what we're going to do tonight. We want to inspire and aspire you to get that book written. He's going to answer your questions. So please chime in with your questions, and also give you some useful tool, that will help you to get started. So I don't know if you guys know this, but if you look back and behind me, I wrote a book in 2009. It was called Army Strong Women. And I wrote that book to answer a question. Every time I was out in my military uniform, I would get asked, what's the Army like? What's the army like? So I decided to answer that through this book, Army Strong Women. So I interviewed a number of women. There are about 13 vignettes inside of the book, and it tells. I wanted to answer some specific questions. What were you going through? What made you decide to join the military? What has the military taught you? And what are some tools that you can give to another woman that was considering joining the military? And so, if I had someone like Dwayne, I probably would have written my book and completed it and got it out and marketed a whole lot sooner than I did. But the blessing today is that he's here with us on contemporary living. So we are all about, again, lifestyle solutions, and that's what he's going to provide to you today. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the dynamic author, coach, and entrepreneur, Dwayne Ross.
I don't know what I should do about that. That was a lot. That was a whole bunch, but I really appreciate it. I was like, "Who's she talking about? She talking about me? She must be talking about somebody else. I don't know.
the
She
re-
talking about me."
the reason I know, that you can help anyone that's thinking about self-publishing, and anyone that's interested in getting coaching and doing that, is because I've seen your work. I'm up. Guess what, you guys? Dwayne comes on at like 6 o'clock in the morning. I mean, it's really early, and he's out there and he's putting all these nuggets out and offering free information and free advice, and he has free calls. And so we're going to get into that. You are just incredible with the work that you do. So let's get that out the way.
Yeah. Hey, listen. Um, people hesitate because they don't have a system. They hesitate because they also get caught up in that imposter syndrome. People hesitate because they don't know exactly like what's the next steps. So tonight we're going to talk about next steps. We're going to talk about that imposter syndrome. What makes you think that you can produce, right? And so I'm going to talk about these things, the mindset. See, you said it earlier, with a mind, if the mind can't go there, you ain't growing there.
Absolutely.
Right? If the mind
Absolutely.
can't go there, you're not going to grow there, because you're going to go and then you're going to get stagnant, because the mindset is what's going to stop you. The mindset is going to get in the way. And
Yeah.
so I love it that you mentioned what's happening in the morning. I started doing these little, it's just kind of like little nuggets. I want to plant some seeds into the lives of the people who know me.
I'm there with my notebook. When you go live in the morning, I'm there with my notebook because you dropping them. You are dropping those nuggets.
And, and let me tell you, the nuggets are real useful things, right? I'm not going to give you fluff. I found that I get really frustrated. You tell me how you feel about this, Melissa. When you get something and you spend some time with something and you find that it just gives you like the foundational fluffy stuff, it doesn't give you the meat,
Right.
right?
I find that with a lot of motivational speakers, they give you just enough, and then that's why we are lifestyle solutions for everyday people, because what
Woo.
happens, you get just enough to get excited but don't know, okay, now that I left this seminar or whatever, what do I do next?
Where do I go?
And
Woo,
that's one
I'm
of the
pumped up. I'm pumped up.
absolutely, that's
Where's
one of
my
the reasons.
car?
Yep. That is one of the reasons why Andre and I started this show, because we were seeing these television shows and they don't leave you with anything. You're left empty. And we're like, come on, we've got to give right now solutions. That's why we started this show.
I love it because, see, in order to start any business, you got to find a gap, right? That's in the community, gap in whatever services or whatever. And you guys found a gap. And you and
Hmm.
Andre looked at that gap, and then you said, okay, how can we go and give people not just the fluffy stuff around the edges, but we're going to give you some deep meat. We're going to give you some deep dive type of information. And I love the fact that, it's contemporary living, but it's this idea of solution, right? When
Hmm.
we have a solution, it's like, I can help you solve that problem. And when we
Right.
solve problems in the marketplace, we get paid, and we should get paid, right?
Absolutely.
Now I got tired of free 99. I'll tell you that right now. I got real tired of free 99. I'm like, you know what? But then I learned something about free 99. There's a space for free 99, and then
Mm-hmm.
there's a space for pay me what I'm asking, because I'll never
Right.
get paid for what I'm worth. You'll never get paid for what you're worth. Here's another thing that stops people. Ooh, somebody's going to steal my idea.
Oh yeah.
All right, let me help you. And Les Brown told me this, and I was doing some work with a place called the Paradigm Learning Center in Riverside, California. And Les Brown was the guest speaker, and he was doing these different talks. And I went and I wanted to participate, but I was helping out with the show itself. I was a photographer, so I was doing video. Anyway, got on the stage with him, and he said, "Don't change what you have, but believe that what they need is what you have,
Mm-hmm.
right? Don't
Mm-hmm.
change what you have, but believe that what they need is what you have. So you have
Mm-hmm.
to find, how can I be the solution?" And so I
Right.
wrote the book, right? I wrote the book, No More Crumbs from the Table. It came from a biblical place where Jesus, was with the disciples, and this lady came up, and she wasn't one of the people that's supposed to be from the neighborhood. So she was like from the west side, they was from the east side. And she's like, "Yo, let me get in." And they was like, "Nah, girl, you can't show up. The man here got work to do, and he
Right.
ain't seeing y'all right now." And it was like, well, why can't I do that? And he was like, "Because you ain't one of us." And that was the first time in the Bible where even Jesus came and he's like, "Yeah, you ain't one of us." He was like, "Nah, I can't help you at all." And she said, "No, but master, even the dogs get the crumbs from the table.
Mm.
Even the dogs get the
Right.
crumbs from the table." And he said, "Come on through. I haven't
Yeah.
seen much faith in anywhere since you. So come on in." Right.
Oh
And the
wow.
thing is, we have to believe, first of all, that we have it.
Right.
If we don't believe we have it, then we timidly walk with it.
Mm-hmm.
Let me say it again.
Mm-hmm.
If we don't believe we have it, we timidly walk with it. And for
Yeah.
many years, I didn't believe I had it, Melissa. I didn't believe I was the one. I didn't believe that I had the voice that would
Mm-hmm.
help other people. I mean, I
Right.
knew I was helping folks, but I didn't know I had the voice that gets people to transform.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then I started helping people do their books, helping people do their books. And I was like, wait a minute, I'm doing all this helping and I'm not getting paid. So I started a
Right.
self-publishing program under called Write Your Story course. And I have a group. You can join me, join us. It's no competition here. We're here to help people with their solution. So you can
Wow.
join the Write Your Story course group. It's a private group. We don't do sales in there and marketing and all that stuff. We talk about, how can I better myself with my cover? How can I, sell more books? What can
Mm-hmm.
I do? I'm stuck. I got brain fog, whatever it is. So
Right.
that's one gem right there.
Okay.
Get around people who have like-mindedness.
Oh, amen to that. And why would we want to do that?
Well, three reasons. I'm going to give you three reasons why. Number one, like-mindedness comes also from the Bible, right? Iron sharpens iron.
Mm-hmm.
When
Mm-hmm.
you're working with like-minded people, your vision will be expanded. That's number two. Like-minded people help you expand your vision.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last one is, when you fall, there's someone to help pick you up.
Yeah.
Because when you get stuck and you're not really following through, or you're supposed to write 700 words and you only wrote two, and you're like, I don't know, maybe, you got somebody that's accountable to you, and you're accountable to them. That's
Right.
that person that's going to pick you up when you're weak.
Right. And I think that's so important because, sometimes, we want to phone it in or throw in the towel and things like that. We want to throw in the towel, and it's that person. It's the person. But the issue with that is that's the person you don't want to talk to, because you know exactly why they're calling
Oh
to
yeah,
get on you to say, you know what, it's time to step your game
step
up.
your
Come on,
game up.
do what you commit to yourself, do what you said you were going to do. But you need people like that in your life.
Here's the thing, because think about
Mhm.
how many times you told somebody else they ought to do X, or
Yep.
you told somebody else you have what it takes, or you
Right.
told somebody else, girl, man, you ought to do blah 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 blah, or you call, but when are you going to be accountable to you and what's inside you? See, that's why I
Woo!
said
Right.
discover your tag, right? Your talent, your ability, your gift, and
So
put it
that
to work in the
discover
earth.
your tag, your talent,
Your
your ability,
abilities
And your
and your
gift.
gifts.
Okay.
Every single human, I believe this with all my heart, all my soul, all my spirit, all my mind, that you come to the earth with something.
Right.
And it's up to us to cultivate that thing.
Absolutely.
And this cultivation allows us to have the lifestyle that we really want.
Mm-hmm.
Because this particular nation we live in
Yep.
teaches us to be worker bees. It
Absolutely.
teaches us away from our gifting. It teaches us away from our innate abilities. It teaches us away from our talents.
I think it's so interesting that you should say that because when I was studying for my master's um, in tourism and event management, what I noticed was that they didn't have an entrepreneurial track for event planners and things like that. It was, oh, you need to join this association, you need to work here, start in a hotel, and then work your way
Work your
up
way
and
up.
things
How
like
many
that.
times, let me
Right.
ask you, how many times you heard start at the bottom
Yep. Yep.
and work your way up, right? Well,
Absolutely.
why?
Yeah.
When you could
Yeah.
be the CEO.
Absolutely.
Now, when you're the
Mhm.
CEO, you can get other people to help you get there.
Okay. Author U Enterprises asking we got the questions coming already. Thank you
Okay.
so much. Author U Enterprises says, how do we discover our gifts? And that is an excellent question because we don't want to be up here. We want to get down here so we can figure it out.
In the nitty
Take
and
us,
the gritty. We're gonna get
take
to the
us,
nitty and the
that's right.
gritty. Because here's
Take
the
us through
deal. You
it.
probably already know because when you was little, a child,
Mm,
more than likely there was something that was so exciting to you. And unfortunately, in a lot of cases, it was kind of like pushed away. Girl, you're talking too much. Why are you talking so much? They didn't know that in the future you're gonna have a contemporary living show.
right, right.
All right. So what I talk to people about is I go through a process of them expressing their goal. What is the thing that you're really going for, right?
Hmm.
And in expressing this goal, they're going to give me some nuggets. And they're going
Right.
to because I'm going to ask them some specific questions. So I guide them through a actual discovery call. This
Hmm.
discovery call is free. All you got to do is go to DwayneRoss.com, click on the bottom, the book, the calendar thing, set up an
Yeah.
appointment with me, and I go take you through. But here's the deal. So I get you to start answering some questions. These are
Hmm.
questions that you only know. But here's what happens in life. You have people who will come and confirm it. You
Mm,
talk so well. I love the way you communicate. Man, you break down stuff that's so complicated into a way that I can
right.
understand.
Yeah.
Man, you know what? We was thinking about who we could have for this, such and such, and I was thinking just for you.
Yeah.
So you start looking at those clues.
Hmm.
And it's called the fragments. Remember, Jesus fed all of the people, right? And then he
Right.
told the disciples, go up and gather the fragments. So you get the fragments of your life.
Yeah.
You get the fragments of your life. You put them in one bucket. And then we talk about what's in the bucket. And
Hmm.
when we look in the bucket, we say, now what's that worth in the marketplace?
Hmm.
And then you look at what's your passion. And we find the intersection between your passion and what's in your bucket. And when I find that,
Wow.
I present that to you, and then you look at it and you make some decisions. Now, again, I believe in prayer. I believe in waiting to hear, and I believe in the fact that there's going to be confirmations about a lot of different things. But
Yeah.
in some cases, the only confirmation you really need is that deep internal spirit confrontation. Because what
Absolutely.
happens is the universe, God, in all his expansiveness, right? He created this amazing universe for us to play in.
Amen.
We give a lot of credit to outside to God, which is cool because God created it, but we are
Hmm.
creators.
Right.
He created us to be like him. We are like minded. We're like him.
Hmm.
So once we tap in to our like
Right.
mindedness, we look at our reality and the things that are around us. And now I say, okay, here's your reality, but here's what you want. How
Hmm.
close are you or how far away from your reality? How can you get there? And then I take them through a process of doing that. And then, of course, they start coming up with some solutions. I don't come up with solutions for people.
Yeah.
I
They,
help them design and develop and spit out their own plan.
that is fabulous. Now you say that every person has about what, 10 stories, huh?
10
Let's
easy
talk
stories.
about
Let me
that.
ask you a question. I'm gonna ask you a question and you just say yes. All right. Do you have the story of you being a child transferring into a grown woman?
Yes.
All right. you have a story of the pitfalls of a relationship that you were able to continue and move forward in a positive way with your husband?
Double yes.
That's three books. All right. Do you have one when you was dealing with the sister girl story about why you
Mm.
should or should not get married to Mr. Farmer, Mr. Hill,
Mr. Hill,
Mr.
yes.
Hill? Yes. Do
Yes,
you have a story about your mom, dad, sister, brother, somebody in your life who poured good stuff into you?
absolutely. Yes.
Do you have a story of somebody who really did you wrong, but you were able to still move through it with prayer, supplication, whatever it is that you had to hold on to make it through?
Yes.
We're up to six. Do
Oh,
you have
wow.
a story about why you started your business?
Yes.
Seven. Do you have a story that when you started your business, what failures and the setbacks and how you still move forward with that business?
Double yes.
We're up to nine. Do you have a story about falling in love with your gift and your ability based on the results that your story gives to other people?
Double yes.
We are
So
past 11
so I can have 10 books written. Look at that. And I got the
already
one.
without even doing the book you already wrote.
Right,
I didn't even count your other book.
you didn't even touch on that. So I love it because you help discover your gifts is just that. I guess is this like an initial call where you kind
This
of
is an initial call,
oh
60
wow,
minutes.
you
It
guys,
doesn't
look
cost
you
you a
guys.
dime.
Yeah.
60 minutes for me to go through this, and then you decide whether you want to do business with me. Okay? I
Oh
sit you down,
wow.
I take you through this process. Once we get to the end, I say, okay, so here you go. You could take it, and here's the thing. This is the beauty of it. You could take it and go to somebody else, and more power to you. Why rock on. Go do your thing. Or you said something earlier. You knew what you wanted to do. I started teaching this at the community college in
Mm-hmm.
2016. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't see this in the future. I didn't see this. COVID made me see this
Mm.
clearer. I've been training and development for over 30 years.
Yeah.
But as far as seeing this particular thing, self-publishing, I was like, I'm not a publishing house. I'm not a publishing company. What makes me that? Right? Until I
Mm-hmm.
looked at the books that stacked up on my table from people that I helped. And it was
Oh wow.
bigger than 10, 12 books. So I was like, wait a minute, hold up. And I got books in my mind right now that I just haven't even started writing yet
Mm-hmm.
because I'm
Mm-hmm.
helping other people. Like right now, I'm helping the lady who did a book on her child, right?
Uh-huh.
She came into class to do a novel on like the future, but she
Yeah.
told a story about her little boy who came and saw his grandmother with a oxygen tank on. She had
Mm,
this
yeah.
thing through her nose. She's
Yeah.
walking around with this stuff, and he was like, "What's wrong with grandma?"
Right.
And she said, "That's grandma. That's grandma. That's Nana's boo boo." She was having to have a lung transplant.
Yeah.
So what happened? She wrote a children's book
Mm-hmm.
from the position of her son, who was about 6, 7 years old,
Yeah.
about lung transplant.
Oh wow.
How
That's
powerful is
special.
that?
That is definitely
It was
special.
nowhere near her
Hmm.
mindset. We had a conversation. I said, I hear you on this fantasy book, but
Yeah.
this story you just told me about your son,
Right.
girl, if you take that story and you juice that thing out, you got a few things.
Absolutely.
So what does she have? She got a book, right?
Yeah.
And what I tell people is the reason why I call it bankable book is because you got to look at it as an industry.
Yeah.
Your book birthed more than just the book.
Hmm.
From the book comes products and
Absolutely.
services, speaking engagements,
Hmm.
right? So for her, I invited her on my show and I said, I need you to come speak on my show. And she's like, I never done that before. I don't know what to do. Blah, 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 blah. Girl, come on in. I got you.
Right. Right.
She did it.
Right.
One friend of hers who's at George Washington University gave the book to as a present to the cardiologist.
Mm.
He's like, yo, you did this for kidneys. I mean, for lungs.
Yeah.
Could we do this for other parts?
Wow.
So there's an opportunity for her to do this. While I'm looking at the book and I'm looking through the book, and unfortunately, I'm sorry, I didn't bring it with me. I'm not in my actual office.
Hmm.
I was out about, and I knew I was going to be out, and I meant to grab that, but I didn't. But I can show that to you. But
Okay.
here's the thing: inside it, there is a white blood cell, and a red blood cell. And the white blood cell is set up like a police, right? Because they keep out the intruders on the
Right.
blood cells.
Yeah.
Perfect thing for pajamas. Perfect product for pillows.
Right.
Perfect products for somebody's room.
Yeah. And you know what? This is you are on the money, because what you are reminding me of, what I'm thinking about is, people say that phrase, multiple streams of income, but it doesn't mean I'm working a job, I'm doing this, I'm just stretched all over
Because
the
all
place.
over here, guess what?
Multiple streams of income starts with doing one thing and then expanding on that one thing, just like you
You you
said.
you 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 will drive yourself up the wall controlling that thing, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Now, if you have something, a story. Now, from this, she could talk to other parents who are devastated that their parent has to have a lung transplant.
Yeah.
So she could be a grief counselor.
Mhm.
She could also be that mom that talks to other moms about how to talk about this really serious thing with your little child or your grandchild,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
And if she
Absolutely.
goes even further, she can find an animator to turn it into a little children's story
Mhm.
that could be all over the world, just like a book could be all over the world.
Mhm.
So it's an industry, and I really want people to get this. The reason why I call it Discover Your Tag is a talent. That was the
Mhm.
writing, right? You have
Right.
this thing that you just do better than everybody else. Da, 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 da,
Mhm.
da. Ability. You were able to
Mhm.
put a story together that gets people excited, blah, 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 blah. And the
Mhm.
gift. The gift is you. You
Mhm.
bring something good to the marketplace,
Mhm.
and the marketplace will pay you back. So now, yes, you got the multiple streams. You got the book stream, right? I
Mhm.
had one day where I was doing travel. I was doing this. I did this and this and that, but I got a book royalty at the same time, and I had a speaking engagement. It is so cool, y'all. I'm talking to the contemporary living people that, y'all contemporary living folk, because you want to live contemporary. Here's the
Right.
deal. When you get all them checks at one time, huh? It is amazing. Just as a couple of weeks ago, I had I had three clients telling me they wanted to do something, and two clients
Mhm.
paid at the same time. Within a 15-minute window, $600.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So when you have these things set up, you don't worry about your paycheck.
Mhm.
You don't worry about bills.
Mhm.
You're not in survival mode anymore. So now you can put your energy into your thing.
That is so true, because when you're not worried about money and you're not worried about those things, it frees up your cells for to be creative, to get more
I
creativity.
watched the billionaire,
Mhm.
undercover billionaire,
Yeah.
and this man took $100, a cell phone with nothing on it, and a truck. And in 90 days,
Mhm.
because of his mindset and what he learned as a
Mhm.
billionaire, he was able to create $1 million company.
Isn't that something? Guess what though? We are done. We are done with the top of the first half of the hour. We are going to go to a commercial, but when we come back, I want to talk about, because it's not an easy process writing.
No,
So we're gonna I want to touch on that, and I want you to kind of explain to us,
the
the
process.
self-publishing process. So we're gonna
Yes.
talk about that. You guys stay tuned. Thanks for tuning in. Again, happy Mother's Day. Smash
Happy
up that
Mother's
like
Day,
button
everybody.
and we will be right back. I keep telling you guys that our platform is your platform. So those commercials tonight, sponsored tonight's show, we have T2C2 Sip Nation. We for the coffee, we have Coach Mel, we have Tino Nails, and Andre the Realtor. So you guys, if you want to showcase or use our platform to promote your business or anything else, let us know. And we're gonna bring back Dwayne.
I'm still do. I'm still on the nail commercial. What in the world, girl? That was on fire on that. I
Man,
was
I
looking at
tell
all your
you,
commercials.
Dwayne, people are out here, present company included. They're just doing their thing, you know.
Love it.
They're just out here doing their thing, just pouring into other people, and it's just wonderful. It's wonderful to see, and I'm just so glad and grateful. And Andre's just glad and grateful that we have a platform to share incredible people like you. So we're gonna get back into it.
Yes, and I
So
want some of that coffee. I wasn't able to read all that stuff so fast. I was like, wait a minute, but I do see some Brazilian was in there and some this was in.
absolutely. If you look behind me, Andre and I have our own coffee. We have a dark roast and a medium roast coffee. So we'll definitely put that information in the section. So I want to get back to talking
Yes.
about writing the book. So I
So
just
here's the
from personal,
yes.
I just want to say from personal experience when I was writing my book, I didn't have, like I said earlier, I didn't have a Dwayne to say, I didn't have a Coach Dwayne to say, go ahead, keep going. So I would like stop for weeks and then I get back to it because
Mhm.
at points in writing, I don't know if it's writer's block or it just gets too hard or just life, like I said before, it gets in the way. So it took me what should have been maybe even a couple of months. It took me like 2 years to get it complete.
Here's the thing though.
And I
You
didn't have
kept
anyone to share the publishing process with me either. So I got messed up over that.
you kept moving forward and you eventually got there. And that's what people
Yeah.
need to understand. For some people, it's 48 hours. I teach in my class, you can produce a book in 48 hours. Now,
Mm.
today, because we have AI and we have all this other stuff at our fingertips, which wasn't even available 3 years ago. You have software right now that can create your whole book for you. You don't even have to do that. You could actually get a ghostwriter to do your whole book if that's what you want to do.
Oh
But when
wow.
you think about the self-publishing route, let me give you an example of somebody who just made millions and millions of dollars self-publishing her book, Mel Robbins. If you heard about Mel
Yeah.
Robbins, if you look her up, she's all over the place. You could just Google her,
She's everywhere.
Melrobbins. They did not want to publish her book. So she said, okay, no problem. I'll do it myself because she knew she had a message. I tell people to pick your due.
Mm.
What's your thing? Like, pick your do. Everybody, kind of like the young lady I was talking about at the beginning. She had a book in mind, but was that the right book? So that's one
Right.
thing a coach can do. A coach can help you, like, think through some of your ideas because you want a bankable book. You want
Right.
something that's going to be hot in the marketplace, and you can't really predict that, right?
Yeah.
But here's the deal: she went through the process because many of the things are the same. You still have to do a book cover, right? You
Mm-hmm.
still have to do certain things that make it valuable in the marketplace as a book, like your forwardings and your content and things
Mm-hmm.
of this nature, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
formatting. Most people run into a problem with formatting. Well, there's a couple of companies out there that they do the formatting for you. As a
Yeah.
matter of fact, there is a company that specifically does KDP for Amazon. Now, if I'm going to be new, I need to go where the people go.
Right.
So what I do in my course, I can teach you the book patch. I could teach you the book baby. I could teach you lulu.com. I could teach you. But what I found in doing that when I first started, I was teaching all these methods. But I wound up zeroing down to the KDP method. Let me give you a reason why.
Okay.
Number one, you don't have to have a website. They give you space on their website. Number two, they're the number three search engine. Google, YouTube, Amazon,
Mm-hmm.
right? They have an entire section for bestsellers and regular books. They have an algorithm that helps your book become number one in different places and spaces.
Oh
So you
wow.
could do a lot of stuff with just that part, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, what's the process? First of all, having a good do, right? A good idea where you
Yeah.
sit down and you think, what is the marketplace? Where's the gap? Do a SWOT analysis.
Yep.
What are the opportunities there, right? So what's your strengths? What's your weaknesses?
Weakness.
SW. What are the opportunities or obstacles, right? And then T, you're thinking about, okay, so here's what I'm going to put into the marketplace to get a return, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you're doing that and you figure that out and you say, okay, here's the book that I'm going to write. Boom. Think about the book you were born to write. Okay, cool. But what's the book you were born to write right now?
Right.
Because you might want to do your family history. There's not going to
Right.
be a lot of people looking for that book.
Right.
But
Except your
how to
family.
start your
And they want a free
business?
copy.
Yeah, but how to start your business with less than $1,000?
Right.
I might want to look at that book, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
you got a good book. And a lot of people try to get the perfect title before they, get to writing. No, get you a title you can live with, and that is your title that you call your working title.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're going to do some stuff in the marketplace to find out where you should be putting your title. Because there
Mm-hmm.
are, again, algorithms, right? People are searching all day long on these search engines.
Mm-hmm.
So if you put your name of your book to be one thing, like I realize the from your table part of my book title
Yeah.
gets me not seen, but the no more crumbs gets me seen because people look for that. They look for that
Ah, okay.
crumbs. They look for
Yeah.
crumbs. So there's another title also that's more corporate, right?
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, you got your title. So you got your working title. Then so number one was decide on a system you're going to use.
Right.
Systems work when people don't.
Yeah.
Systems work when people don't. And then
True.
the other acronym for systems, save yourself time, energy, and money. Right?
Ah, I like
Save
that.
yourself time,
Save
energy, and money.
yourself
It's
time,
not
energy,
mine.
and
I heard it
money.
somewhere. I don't remember, but it locked in on in. It locked in on in. So now you got your working title, and then writer. Here's what I say to my class. They always say, "Well, I don't know if I want to write." I say, "Okay, stop whining and think about this.
Right.
Writers do what?
Right.
Thank you. Hallelujah. Throw your hands up. Whoop, whoop.
That's it.
Writers write. So write.
Right.
So
They
here's
don't
the
talk
thing.
about writing, they
They
write.
don't talk about writing. But here in today's society, guess what? You got a smartphone. And
Mm-hmm.
now you don't have to ever pick up a pen, hit a chord. You could just talk, blah, 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 blah,
True.
blah, blah. And you now
True.
also have Microsoft, where they build a uh, inside Word document. You can
Mm-hmm.
talk to your computer and it
Mm-hmm.
actually will write for you because they did the hands-free thing for
Mm-hmm.
texting and they took it and put it into business, right? So
Yeah.
you can do all that. You can send yourself the message and then send it to somebody else and have them type it up all nice and pretty. Here's
Right.
another thing. Writers try to be authors before they're authors.
Explain that.
I'm gonna let it sink in. Writers try to be authors before they're authors. You ain't an author yet
Oh,
until you
until you've
come.
written that book.
Lord Jesus. So here you are thinking you the expert in everything. You the expert in
Right.
English. You the expert in the storyline. You the
Right.
expert in the arc. You the expert in the what the cover's supposed to look like. You the expert in the font. You are the expert in all these things. What are you doing?
Right. That I was going to ask you about that too, because after you've written your book, it's you need an editor to actually bring that book to life.
To
Now,
life.
so how does the editing process work with
Beautiful,
you and
beautiful
your
question.
system?
Let me get that system first out, okay?
Sure,
And I'm gonna
sure.
come back to that. So, okay, I'm not
Sure.
gonna leave you hanging because I
Okay.
want them to get this. So now you got your thing. Another thing they try to do is write like just off the top of their head. Okay, first of all, you can do that. I want to
Hmm.
encourage you to do that. That's no problem. You
Yeah.
may not get your book in a sequence A, B, C, D,
Right.
E. But what I will do is think about situations. Oh, I got to talk about when I was grown. Oh, I want to talk about that time I got punched in the eye. Ooh, I want to talk about that time I almost got a DUI. Ooh, I
Yeah.
want to talk about that time I got delivered. Ooh, I want to talk about time Jesus found me. Ooh, I want to talk. And then you talk those stories out, right? You
Right.
write those stories out.
Right.
So here you are. You're not an author yet. So just write. Writers write and pick a deal. I give you the 777 method. 7 minutes, 700 words, 3 times a day. If you commit yourself to 700 words, 7 minutes, You just write for 7 minutes. Get a prompt or have somebody give you a prompt. And
Yeah.
that prompt could be, what happened at high school? Let's say you're
Hmm.
doing some things about transition from high school to
Yeah.
college, and you're telling people how to get um, college scholarships, right?
Hmm.
You got to tell a story within that story so that it sounds good and juicy, but it also gives you the knowledge and the expertise, right? I
Right.
tell you to elevate your expertise inside the story. Stories sell,
Yeah.
right? Info tells, story sells.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
here you go. You got your story. Now you're writing. You're good. Now you get it. You give it to the people who've been training all their life,
Yeah.
all their lives, all
Yeah.
day life. I don't know how to say
Exactly.
it, but them
Exactly.
lives, they the
Right.
ones who know about when the N becomes before the or and the P comes before the D and the
Right.
spell them down there, and they know all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let them handle that.
Yeah.
You also have someone that is a copy editor. They're the ones that really look at your title and is it going to be cool in the market, because they're the ones doing the market research. They're going
Hmm.
to go to the top books. They're going to look at your cover, does it match with what's selling? They're going to look
Right.
at the color codes because colors matter. People just think they can just
Yeah.
slap anything together and throw it out there, and unfortunately you can do that, and there's a whole bunch of books on Amazon, 362,000 every single week
Wow.
published.
Yeah.
Where are you going to be in that number?
Exactly.
All right. So you got that. So now you got your book format. You got the layout because you're going to decide size and all that, because that stuff, because that's going to matter. Word
Hmm.
count matters. Page count matters. Because if you want people to just get some information so they can move, you don't want no 200-page book. You want something about
Absolutely.
85, 90 pages to 100 pages, real smooth and easy. They're in it, they're out of it, and they actualize. People want information they can put to work. All
Hmm.
right. If you're trying to get them excited about love, then okay, go ahead and do your poetry, right? But put
Right.
some stories inside that poetry, right? Think about Jack Canfield, number 2 book in the world.
Yeah.
The Bible's number 1. Chicken Soup for the Soul is
Is
number
number.
2.
Yeah.
Sold
Hmm.
more books than any book in history.
Wow. Yeah.
And he didn't write but one story
That's
in his
true.
first chicken book. So he won. He wrote one. But guess who else? Who else wrote a story in that book?
Who's?
Lisa Nichols.
Oh yeah.
And now she has a multi-million-dollar company
She does.
based on the experience that she had from Chicken Soup and The Secret.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay. So
Yeah.
here you have, and then you put your book together. That's one thing. And now you got this thing that you got to get it to someone who's going to formulate it, format it, check all the boxes, make sure everything's in the right place. Because you might have the story going A, B, C, D, and they be like, hey, D don't quite work. And you've been talking about Anthony, and then Anthony's name turned to Antoine. Well, when did that
Hmm.
happen? We need to fix
Right.
that, right? We got to make sure it makes sense to the reader, not
Yeah.
you. A lot of
Yeah.
people like to read and write to themselves, but I'd say you write to your one avatar. You pick your avatar. Now, what is your avatar? That's your ultimate customer. How old is she? Where does she work? How many
Hmm.
kids? Where does he do? What does
Hmm.
he do? How many this? Does he have muscles? Does he not? Does he drink? Does he
Right.
not? All to give him a personality. When you give them a personality, now you know who you're talking to.
Exactly. Exactly.
Right? So these are all the different things that I teach in the class over a course of 20 hours. Okay. This
Ooh. Yeah.
20-hour course is juicy. It's really set up
Hmm.
to get you, because what I want at the end, I
Hmm.
take people through a mock book development from beginning to end, and then they end with an actual book. And I
That
take
is.
their short stories, compile them, and I show them. I don't just tell them. I do experiential learning. I've been a training
Hmm.
specialist. I built the first C-17 in the Air Force. When I came
Hmm.
out of the Air Force, I started building planes for Douglas Aircraft Company. I've
Hmm.
been through a whole bunch of hardship because I got laid off about 4 or 5 times from companies that didn't do whatever. But I never stopped teaching.
Hmm.
And anytime I did, I found myself back.
Hmm.
And so for you to know, Melissa, this is a second time for me getting back out there. I had been out there and then I kind of like left the field and then I started doing some other stuff. But I,
Right.
I heard something during COVID that
Uh-huh.
I that I really responded to, and it was the pain. The Pain of the
Mm.
Nation. We had the George Floyd situation where
Right.
here this man is murdered right in front of our face. People
Mhm.
marching in the streets. I go down to march also. I'm in the streets with people and people getting fired, grads, so all this stuff happening. And I was like, man, it's too negative. We got to do. So I did 31 days of positivity on LinkedIn. One of my
Mhm.
friends was doing a show and he said, yo, come on my show, blah, 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 blah. And it turns into what's going on right now. Right. And I started really keying in on helping people get their stories out. And so now you got your book, you're ready. You
Mhm.
got your manuscript. I will tell you this, don't try to format your book on yourself, on your own, because what's going to happen? You're going to try to create ways to make it look like a book. You're going to
Mhm.
put the wrong kind of stop marks. You're going to have hidden stuff behind the scenes. You're going to have words that don't belong. You're going to have little pieces of things that's on one page that should have been left on that page, and it's going to come down. And when you get ready to do your table of contents, nothing's going to line up. It's a
Right.
pain in the butt. It's a real mess. I want you to
Yeah.
not do that. Right.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that help you. So we get all that together, and now we get what's called a beta test.
Mhm.
Again, a lot of people don't do it. They just go straight to market. Well, a beta test is going to show you the mistakes. They're going to show you the little areas. So you get some people around the table and you say, here's a free book. Take a look at it. Let me know. See if it turns right, blah, blah, blah. And then
Yeah.
they'll tell you, hey, page 13, you spelled your name wrong.
Mhm.
I've done that. I've been
Yeah.
so fast, put the Y before the A, and I put DYA. My name is not DY anything. I'm
Right.
WAYNE, one
Right.
syllable. Right.
You
So
uh-huh.
I'm not Dwayne, I'm Dwayne. Right.
Right.
So anyway, once you get that to that point, then we get it to the beta. And I beta test with an actual book. I don't beta test with a PDF. I don't beta test with a Word document. I beta test with an actual physical book. Here's why.
Oh, wow.
Because once you have a physical book in your hand, the
Mhm.
magic of that is phenomenal.
Yeah.
You open the box up and here's your thing, this baby, this thing that you birthed. Boom. Your birth of greatness is in that box.
Yeah. I just remember personally just experiencing that. My book was complete for the first time, and that is like a great you could write a book about that.
About that, the experience of their first
What
book, right? And that could be your
uh-huh.
ebook. Because another thing
Right.
is, Melissa, you a businesswoman. You could
Mhm.
tell people a little bit about coffee
Mhm.
and why Arabica bean versus Jamaican bean versus African bean versus, the Sudan bean and this
Uh-huh.
bean, and what's the deal with all the beans, right?
Right.
You,
That is
you can
interesting.
say wisdom from Beanie. Right?
I like that. I like that.
I
But you
used to
know,
be called Beanie as a little kid.
I
I'm get
was
that
like,
out there because I
oh.
know somebody's watching right now. And they're like, "Oh, look at Beanie on TV." Look, but look at this, and that's
Uh-huh.
a small bankable book because it's going to bring
Okay.
you people because
Yeah.
you can give it away to your
Yep.
clientele or potential customer. Now
Mhm.
you give that away for your email address. Now you
Yeah.
got them in your thing, and now you can
Yeah.
start marketing to them about your
Oh,
story,
wow.
about your
Now,
book, about your stuff.
one of the things I know that you say is that your story can set you free.
Yes,
Explain that.
financially
How can
free.
someone's story set them free?
Three ways. Let me give you Amanda Danello. Amanda Danello, she's still alive and now she's having her baby and she's married and her life is beautiful. She's a real estate agent now. She's on her fourth book, wrote poetry, but her first book was um, because she was a heroin addict.
Mhm.
And writing can be therapeutic,
Yeah.
where you get that stuff out of your head, out of your heart, and into the
Mhm.
hands of yourself to consume it and
Right.
others. So
Yeah.
that's one way of freedom. You
Yeah.
get it out of your soul.
Mhm.
Another
Mhm.
way of freedom is that it's now a marketable product. And if
Mhm.
you get somebody excited, I was talking about Mel Robbins. So what did Mel Robbins do? She did it self-publishing and she sold over 1 million copies.
I remember 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All she was doing is telling you how to get something going.
That was
So I
it.
tell
That's
you, if
what
you can't write, just count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and get to writing. Right? Me and Real Rob, she should
Absolutely.
send me a check now. She should send me a check. But
That's
here's the
right.
deal. That was so
Mhm.
simple, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Melissa Peer, you are enough. Write
Yep.
enough on the mirror and say you're enough. Boom.
Yep.
And now
That's
she
it.
has a $1 million coaching industry from telling people you are enough.
So I think it's wonderful because the whole fact that you say we have 10 books in us and look how you're just popping it off, popping it
And
off.
I'm just saying
Uh-huh.
that to you because it's in me. I don't have notes.
Yeah.
I don't have to take notes. I don't
Right.
have to like I got a
Right.
couple of little things I wanted to make sure I say, like
Yeah.
go where you celebrate it, not where you're tolerated.
Right,
That's
right, right.
something, right? I have
Right.
another thing that says solve a problem where you love, not
Right.
just where you are, but where you love. If you love animals, solve a problem in the animal space. If you love this, solve a problem in that. Find that thing that gives you passion because passion brings you profits, and that's the freedom.
Absolutely.
So if you could get something that's bankable, then you could
Mhm.
be free from all your bills and stuff, right?
All right.
So
Yeah.
that's number two. So you got money, you got the fact that you get it out of your soul, and number
Mhm.
three, you will be on purpose.
Yeah. Yeah.
There is freedom in passion and purpose.
All right.
So
Yeah.
when you're doing this, stuff starts happening. Did I call you and say, "Hey, can I be on your show?"
Right. Right.
No.
Right. Right.
You were like, "Hey,
Right.
I think this is a great idea. Could you share
Mhm.
this on my show?" And I was like, "Yeah, I got space. Let's do it."
Yeah.
You had me on the calendar. We talked what 2 years ago.
Yeah. It's
People
been
need to
about
know
that.
this. This didn't happen overnight. This was two
Right.
years ago. We had a conversation.
Mhm.
We went back and forth. Y'all had some stuff going on.
Right.
You had some closing to do, some
Mhm.
houses to
Mhm.
build, and all that kind of stuff. And then you had the farming thing going with the
Right.
river with the beans, all of that stuff, right?
Mhm.
And
Right.
so you got to this space where now you're at, and you say, "Hey, so here I am now," right?
Yeah.
So you asked me another question in reference to the book.
Mhm.
And so once you got all that together, now it's time to publish your book. I won't say
Awesome.
push the button on publishing until
Mhm.
you get you get it back a couple of times and you feel fine. I will tell you, don't
Mhm.
get hung up on perfect.
Right.
Done
Now,
is better than perfect.
absolutely.
In
Now, guess.
business,
Uh-huh.
nothing ever started 100%
All right.
based on, and I saw the question, I'm gonna get that out in a second.
Okay.
Nothing ever starts perfect.
Okay. Yeah.
Watch a little child walk.
Mhm. That's true. That's true. But we're coming up on time now.
Oh
We,
man,
we,
okay,
we've
okay,
got,
good.
I've got to close out. I want to get all of the juicy information and all the nuggets you have. But first of all, we want to put your information up for people that want to get in contact with you. So where can they find you?
Couple places. Okay, first of all, take down my number 757 two
Mm-hmm.
three six 8207. Right?
Yep.
757 236 8207. Just call me. Call the
Yeah.
brother. Now, when you
Okay.
call, if you don't get an answer back, text me.
Okay.
Because I get a lot of calls from all kind of people. Text me and say, "Hey, Mr. Ross or Dwayne," you don't have to call me Mr. Ross. "Hey, Dwayne, I'm interested in doing a book." Boom.
Right.
Now we can talk about the book. The other thing
Okay.
is, instead of doing all that, just go to Calendly. If you know what Calendly is, or you can go to
Mm-hmm.
yourbankablebook.com. And when you get there, what's going to happen is you can make an appointment. You can go to DwayneRoss.com right there with my name, www.dwayneross.com, or that other one, right? Yourbankablebook.com, and make an appointment. I will give you the 60-minute overview, what we call discovery call. Once we do
Okay.
that, all the magic starts to happen, and then we go from there and you decide what you want to do. I can
All
tell
right.
you this.
Mm-hmm.
People do this and they charge 20,000. I was sitting in a meeting with a guy who
Right.
does $20,000 for this service.
Yeah.
You're not going to spend $20,000 with me.
That is
All right?
wonderful. I want to ask you a question because we have less than 30
Okay.
seconds.
30 seconds.
Where do
Go
you
for
see
it.
yourself 5 years from now?
5 years from now, wherever God has for me, what I'm working on is right now. Here is where
Beautiful.
I am because see, I know people who thought they was going to be here 5 years and they dead. So I'm working on where am I right now. So where am I right now? I'm focused on my business. I'm focused on making an impact on people's
Okay.
lives that's positive that can't be erased. And I'm interested in helping you get your bankable book done.
All
You
right.
have information, so elevate your expertise and
Yep.
turn what you know into cash flow. Everybody
Beautiful.
has 10 stories or more, so write your story.
That
Because
is
see, history is
beautiful.
being written, right?
Hmm.
History is being read, right? But
Yeah.
book. They read in history, but it's also being written. Les Brown
Okay.
said that, and I never forgot it. So thank
All
you so
right.
much, Melissa. Tell
No
my man Dre I
problem.
said what's up.
Thank you so
Y'all have a
much.
great one. Look
All
me
right.
up.
You too.
Let's make that happen.
Okay. Bye-bye.
We see you.
Bye. Wow, you guys. And now we don't have a whole lot of time, but wasn't that good? What I really like, 7 minutes, 700 words, 3 times a day. I think that is so powerful. What I want to leave with you this week is this. This is what I want you to go with this week. If you're not liking the results, then I challenge you to lean into life, because you can't go to the next level until you've achieve the level prior to that. So the next level, to get prepared to go to the next level, you got to lean into those challenges. So this week, I want you to lean into every challenge that you have face to face. And as always, we thank God for his unmerited, undeserving favor called grace. Grace is a total absence from doing anything. You can't work for it, you can't buy it, and he just gives it to us freely. And as believers, we know that Christ died, he was buried, and rose again on the third day for our justification. It's in the word, so let that sink in. On behalf of myself and my multi talented husband, Andre Hill, be brilliant, be you, be blessed, and we will see you May 22nd.